All right, welcome on back, everyone, to another episode of First CSP, the channel dedicated to bringing you the first council shoulder patch issued from each council in Scouting America, both past and present. Today, we're going to build upon yesterday's episode looking at the Great Lakes Council, and today we'll look at the subsequent Great Lakes Field Service Council, 784 out of Michigan, that took over in 2012 as the name change from Great Lakes to 72. It is also worth noting that in the collecting guide, they do list that in 2019, this changed from a multi council entity with a single parent council and child field service councils. So I guess there was some organizational change, although it's my understanding it's still the Great Lakes Field Service Council. Today, we'll start off by taking a look at the first issue, which also, like yesterday, was an activity issue, and then we'll take a look at the first regular as well. So, over to the patch table, and the first issue is the SA1 with its red border, white background, yellow fleur de lis, and blue name, Great Lakes Council. Although it does say Great Lakes Council, this is listed as the first issue for the Great Lakes Field Service Council because I believe of the date falling within the creation in 2012 of the Great Lakes Field Service Council. There were two issues made for this tradery. This was the one that was more widely distributed, of about 200 issues, and then the same imagery but in a very stark contrasting just blue and red. So the eagle's not colored in, the eagle is just outlined in blue. So it's a blue border, red background. The name, I think, is in white, but they only made 100 of those. We don't happen to have that SA2 in our collection. We just have the first issue SA1. You can see with the plastic back, logo back that we're used to seeing in more modern patches. Now, for the Great Lakes Field Service Council, they then had a ton of events that must have come up right at the beginning because they have so many activity issues before they ever get to their first real regular issue that is not an A issue, SATA, which stands for activity issue. And so the first non-activity issue is the S17:1. I'm never really quite sure why they have some of those listed as a colon. They have an SA17 error patch that was a 2013 Friends of Scouting. I've never seen that patch. But then they had the S17:1, so no A designation. This is their regular issue and was the first regular issue, I guess essentially as the 17th patch issued by the council, with its blue border, tan background, brown with white outline fleur de lis, and a blue name, Great Lakes Field Service Council. You can see this is essentially reprising the regular issue of the Great Lakes Council, which, since I'm recording these on the same day, a little behind the sauce, I can put both of them up there. You can see they're just reprising that imagery, which, as I talked about in yesterday's episode, is a really clean aesthetic, and I think really probably looks great on a uniform. So good of them to decide to stick with a great thing, I think. Taking a look at the back, this is the S17:1, again with a plastic logoed back, is the first regular issue for Great Lakes Field Service Council. We do find occasionally that when we have a newer Field Service Council that wasn't always listed on the first patch, at least on some of them. I know for the President Ford Field Service Council, they list the first couple of patches created were just listed as President Ford Council, so they do consider those an error, it seems. Same type of thing seemed to happen here for the Trader Breed. This is the Great Lakes Field Service Council, although the patch just does seem to say Great Lakes Council. But that is the first issue, which is the SA1, and the first regular issue for this council, which is the S17:1. Hope you guys found that informative. Again, thank you all for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow with another brand new episode of First CSP as we make our way through all of the councils that have produced CSPs in the history of Scouting America. Hope you're enjoying the content. We certainly enjoy making these videos and sharing it with you. We'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.